Evet, merhabalar, hoş geldiniz. Herkese iyi akşamlar. Welcome everyone. Welcome to our lesson. So, good evening to everyone, or good day. Today we will talk about adverbs of frequency in Turkish. Okay, so hemen başlayalım. So, this is a vocabulary lesson. So, there will not be lots of grammar explanation. I will still maybe explain some important parts, or you can also ask what a sentence means, what a word means, but we will mostly be focusing on the vocabulary. We will learn these adverbs of frequency, so how to say never, sometimes, generally, always. I put them in an order from like never to always, so we will go from like 0 to 100 like by the percent. And I also wanted to include a few more other types of frequency, so how to talk about things like once a week, once a month, once a year, or how to say daily, weekly, like hourly, or every month, every week. I try to keep it, various. So we will not stick with the list, with the frequency list. We will also be seeing this. And then I included two idioms, Turkish idioms that we use to describe how often we do something. So it should be an interesting, at least this part, the idioms part. So we will start right away. This will be an easy and short lesson compared to other grammar lessons. The only actual explanation I need to make is the difference between asla and hiç. As you can see in the title, when you need to say never in Turkish, we have actually four options: asla, hiç, hiçbir zaman, katiyen. I will repeat one more time. Asla, hiç, hiçbir zaman, katiyen. So what is the difference if four of these options mean never? The actual real difference is basically between asla and hiç. And the difference is about in what tense you can use them. Asla is only used for the present or general things. Ben asla anime izlemem. Or the future. Ben asla oraya gitmeyeceğim. But that's the attention part. We don't use asla for the past events. You can still say it technically, but it will not be really natural because it is not really common. We don't say ben onu asla görmedim. Instead of this, you can say ben onu hiç görmedim. That's the only difference. Because I believe the difference lies in the vibes of these two adverbs, asla and hiç. Hiç is more like the times that you do, which is none, like I never, as a like point in time. But asla is something within your possibility, like you can do it, but you are really against doing it. It's a different vibe, it's a different feeling. And that's why we don't say it for the past events. Ben hiç görmedim. That's a lot better than saying ben asla görmedim. But the other ones, present and future, hiç izlemem, asla izlemem, hiç gitmeyeceğim, asla gitmeyeceğim, hiç yapmadım, that's the better one, asla yapmadım, we don't say that. I never hear this, I never see this. Okay, that's the only difference. And when you ask a question, like have you ever done something, we use like sen hiç, for example, Sen hiç İstanbul'a gittin mi? Have you ever went to Istanbul? We don't say sen asla İstanbul'a gittin mi? That doesn't make sense. Sen hiç İstanbul'a gittin mi? Sen hiç fil gördün mü? Have you ever seen an elephant? Fil. Sen hiç, then your question. So this have you ever type, the template, the question template, we express it with hiç. Or you can also say it for yourself, like ben hiç yapmadım. Ben hiç İstanbul'a gitmedim. I have never gone to Istanbul. I have never been to Istanbul. I have never seen an elephant. Ben hiç fil görmedim. Okay? Just use asla for other things. And if you want to say like I have never seen it, I have never done it, instead of asla, just use hiç. So now let's talk about rarely. How do we say rarely or in Turkish? Wait, I wanted to include seldomly in here. So nadiren and then seyrek. We are not there yet. More sık sık means often. We are talking about nadiren. Like you still do it, but not really commonly. Just once a while. So nadiren. And after this part, there is nothing really explaining. It is just a bunch of examples. So we say nadiren for rarely because nadir as an adjective, it means rare. Let me explain these examples. Nadir bir görüntü, like it's a rare view, it's a rare. You can say this nadir bir görüntü when you see something rarely, like a miracle happens. It doesn't have to be a real miracle. Let's imagine your husband starts cooking and then you go like, wow, nadir bir görüntü, because he never does that. So that's a rare occurrence. That's a rare thing. That's a rare sight, görüntü. Or nadir bir kalıntı. Kalıntı means like a relic. You know, from old times, we dig up the old stuff and we find relics. So that's a rare relic. Nadir bir kalıntı. And then nadir bir hayvan. Like a, now they are like endangered. Their species are, they are going extinct. So they become rare. Nadir hayvan. And when you put this n suffix on nadir, it becomes an adverb. Nadiren. Nadir and nadiren. Also, as a fun fact, Nadir is also a Turkish male name. So we can use like other nouns, adverbs, adjectives as names. It is also a name. So nadiren futbol çalışırım. And Megan, your example is correct, but the order, the position of seyrek just reminded me. You can use nadiren at the beginning of the sentence. Nadiren ders çalışırım. Nadiren futbol oynarım. But when you say seyrek, for some reason, I honestly don't know why, you should put it before the verb. So, in your example, başkalarını ziyaret etmeyi ya da başkalarını başkalarını seyrek ziyaret etmeyi severim. It's like an embed. There's another verb in it. Başkalarını seyrek ziyaret etmeyi severim. I like visiting others, but seldomly, like only once a while. So you should put it before the verb. In your sentence, there are two verbs. The first one is the actual verb, severim. The other one is the verbal noun, the adjective. But that's the thing you only like. So seyrek ziyaret etmeyi severim. Yes, now is correct. And more. Can you use nadir for humans? Like nadir bir anne. Yes. Yes, you can say nadir bir anne, nadir bir çocuk, nadir bir öğretmen, nadir bir patron. Anyone who's rare to see, as in like a special person, you can say nadir. Okay, what other things do you rarely do? Nadiren başka ne yaparsınız? Mesela ben nadiren, actually that's a lie. Ben hiç futbol oynamam. I just put it there for the sake of one example. I was running out of ideas. But ben nadiren ne yaparım? Koşarım mesela. Nadiren koşarım. And your examples, nadiren film izlerim, nadiren radyo dinlerim. Yes, correct. Nadiren Türkçe konuşurum. Good point. Aux, that's a good point, but it's not a necessity. You can also use the present continuous. Nadiren futbol oynuyorum. Nadiren ders çalışıyorum. Or the past tense. Nadiren ders çalıştım. Like between time periods. Like for the past 1 month. I rarely studied. Nadiren ders çalıştım. But the good point is, aorist is acceptable and you can use it with nadiren. Onu nadiren yapacağım. Nadiren yapacağım. Yes, it works with the future, but kind of weird because it sounds like you will avoid doing it. So it will be rare. So nadiren mutfağı temizliyorum. Nadiren doğru Türkçe cümleler yazıyorum. But the irony is that sentence was correct, Regisanya. Good job. Nadiren pazara giderim. İhtiyaçlarımı sipariş ederim. Sipariş ederim doesn't work here. Because sipariş etmek making an order, so it will be delivered to you later. But pazar is the instant shopping. You just buy it. You don't sipariş. Okay. So I think we can slowly move to the next one. Nadiren sağlıklı yemek yerim. Correct. And now sometimes. So there will be, after this point, there will be, like, for an English adverb, there will be multiple options in Turkish, like this one. Bazen, ara sıra, arada sırada, arada bir. But there will not be any difference to explain. So you will be saying this, no difference at all. They are just the same thing formed with different suffixes, different verbs, but the meaning is completely the same. Bazen, ara sıra, arada sırada, arada bir. So, sometimes, once in a while, even like they are maybe not completely the same, but very similar. The difference is very insignificant. So you can completely use them interchangeably. Bazen müzik dinliyorum. Ara sıra oyun oynuyorum. Arada bir yürüyüş yapıyorum. And ara sıra, arada bir, arada sırada. And how does ara sıra translate? That's a good point. I can't translate it. Ara is like a gap between two things, like the surface. Ara sıra. Yeah, every now and then, but what is ara and sıra? Yeah, it is really like one of the things, at least I can't explain and translate. Bu aralar is like these times, like nowadays, lately. Yeah, just like, between or between two times, like 5 p.m. and I don't know, 1 p.m. Between them, there's a gap. So between this time, like I do it in one time, I do it at 1 p.m. and then I do it at 5 p.m. So I do it like between these two times. So don't really even try to look into the technical, literal translation. I think one of them can have zaman in the sentence, but others don't. Bazen, but not in this form. Instead, bazı zamanlar. O bazı zamanlar müzik dinliyorum. That could be another option. I can just include it here. Bazen, bazı zamanlar, sometimes. That's actually the literal sometimes. We learned sometimes. Arada sırada penguenlere sarılıyorum. Sarılmak is a dative action. You hug to something. Bazen banyoda şarkı söylüyorum. Bazı zamanlar şarkı söylüyorum. Ara sıra, arada sırada, arada bir. Yes. And let's see the next one. We are now getting closer to frequent things. Frequently and often. Sık sık and sıklıkla. So sık on its own as an adjective is often or frequent. But when you say sık sık, you can repeat adjectives and you can make adverbs from them. That's what it happens here. Like sık sık. So often, frequent becomes frequently or oftenly. Bazen canım çikolata çekiyor. Sık sık canım çikolata çekiyor. Oftenly, frequently, I crave for chocolate. Or sometimes I crave for chocolate. And now let's see your examples. What do you do frequently? Sık sık ne yaparsınız? Ya da sıklıkla ne yaparsınız? Ben sık sık kitap okurum ya da sık sık oyun oynarım. And sık sık film izlerim. Sık sık I don't know. We actually eat food often. Sık sık yemek yeriz. So sık sık derse katılıyorum. Dative. Katılmak is dative. You join to something. Sık sık geç yatarım. Correct. Sık sık bahçeye gidiyorum. Again, gitmek is a dative action. Kadınlar sık sık çekiniyor. Çekiniyor? What? Do you mean fotoğraf çekiniyor? If you meant taking photos, you need fotoğraf çekiniyor. You can't say çekiniyor. But if you meant they hesitate, because çekinmek is hesitate. Sık sık telefonla oynuyorum. Correct. Sık sık Türkçe çalışırım. Sıklıkla abur cubur yerim. Not yiyerim, but yerim. Sık sık ofise gidiyorum. Sık sık rol oyunları oynuyorum. Sık sık hastalanırım. Sık sık Türkçe'de düşünüyorum. Sık sık Türkçe düşünüyorum. Türkçe'de düşünüyorum. Both Türkçe'de and Türkçe they are correct. Çocuklar sık sık yalan söylüyor. And sıklıkla konuşacağım. Doğru mu? Umarım doğrudur. Seni nadiren duyuyoruz. So, yes Nanagyo, Türkçe olarak düşünüyorum. And then sık sık annemle konuşurum. Evet, that's correct. I talk with my mom oftenly. Sık sık annemle konuşurum. Okay, so I will not be typing all of the examples right now, but when I post the PDF, I will try to include your examples under here, so you can see your own examples or other people's examples, or other people who don't join the lesson, they can read them. But now I will move to this. Regularly. So düzenli, devamlı. So if you actually ask my personal opinion, devamlı is something more like constantly. So let me just change the translation. Regularly, düzenli, and then devamlı, constantly. I think regularly and constantly, maybe they are the similar meaning anyway. But maybe regularly is more like something happens today, then it happens again tomorrow, then it happens again the other day. But constantly is probably happening without stopping, without a pause. Maybe, I don't know. And yes, Jason, that's correct. Devam means continue. Devam etmek means continue. So when I say let's continue, I will say hadi devam edelim. Or when I say the movie is continuing, that's difficult to pronounce. Like it is going on, it continues. Film devam ediyor. So you'll see it here. Devamlı. So yes, I regularly do this, but today I did that. Düzenli olarak yaparım. Ama bugün bunu yaptım. Yes. So, siz ne yaparsınız? Düzenli olarak veya devamlı olarak ne yapıyorsunuz? Güzel. Dişlerimi düzenli fırçalarım. I brush my teeth regularly. Hiçbir şeyi devamlı yapmıyorum. Interesting sentence, kinda sad, but perfect. Düzenli olarak banyo yapmalıyım. Evet. Kombi devamlı çalışıyor. Yes. Başka ne yapıyoruz? Devamlı, düzenli. Mesela, for example, sunucuda düzenli olarak ders yapıyoruz. Regularly in the server, We do lessons. Düzenli olarak ders yapıyoruz. Düzenli olarak daha iyi bir insan olmaya çalışıyorum. Nice. Düzenli okula giderim. Düzenli olarak yaz tatilinde çalışıyorum. O bana devamlı konuşuyor. Bana konuşuyor sounds like you are not talking, like you are not responding back, but the other person keeps saying things to you. So maybe you should try saying, o benimle devamlı konuşuyor. He talks with me, so I also respond back. Türkçe cümlelerimi devamlı karıştırıyorum. You try to say mix up, but you didn't mix up. Karıştırmadın. Doğru. So that was correct. Okay. Evet. So mesela ben devamlı örnek istiyorum. I regularly, constantly keep asking examples. Düzenli olarak örnekler veriyoruz. Yes. Düzenli olarak ödev yapıyoruz. Düzenli olarak ders yapıyoruz. Düzenli olarak ders çalışıyoruz. Umarım. I hope so. But yeah, that's how you say regularly or constantly in Turkish. Düzenli or devamlı. And if we talk about the other meanings, other uses of these in different contexts, düzen is also something like an order. So when your room is an order, like when it's tidy and clean, you can say bu oda düzenli. It doesn't mean it's regular. It means it's, organized. It's tidy. So bu oda düzenli. But what if the room is messy, is unorganized? What would we say in this case? Bu oda, so without the order. You can say dağınık, which is another adjective. And düzensiz, exactly, I was looking for this. Because this li suffix here, with, it means with. So with the order. It makes an adjective. Like düzen, order, düzenli. Ordered, like organized, tidy. And also düzenli, like an adverb. Okay, it really depends on the context. You should look into the context. If you are talking about a room, if you want to describe the room, it's an adjective. So düzenli oda. But if you are describing that you are doing something in an order or regularly, ben bunu düzenli yapıyorum. And yes, you are doing those correctly. Düzenli fiiller, regular verbs. Düzensiz fiiller, irregular verbs. Correct. Okay, so let's move to the next one, the sixth, and let me quickly check how many of them we have left. Okay, 6 and then 7. We will have the last one. Then we will talk about the other types of frequency and then idioms, and then we will call it a night. Yes, you are doing a good job, Megan. Don't worry. These are the correct terms. That's what we use. That's what the textbooks technically use. Düzenli and düzensiz. Like when we learn English, we say like düzenli fiiller, regular verbs, düzensiz fiiller, irregular verbs. Okay, so now we will talk about generally, genellikle. Maybe that's one of the most easy ones to remember because it is the adopted. It is, just we took it from English or maybe French. The first one, I don't know. Just genel, general, then genellikle, generally. So, good point. That just reminded me. It's not always genellikle. Sometimes it is genelde, in general. So genelde zamanında uyanırım. Generally, I wake up on time. Genelde yemek yapmam. Generally, I don't cook food. Genelde, what else do you do generally? Genelde ne yaparsınız? Now I can try typing this. Genelde zamanında uyanırım. Genelde yemek yapmam. And genelde geç uyuyorum or uyurum. You can use both aorist and the present continuous tense. Genelde, let's also include on the weekends, like hafta sonları. On the weekends, I generally go out. Dışarı çıkıyorum. Genellikle geceleri duş alıyorum. Generally, genellikle. That's also a good point. I wasn't sure if I should include it. When you use the time of a day, like gece or sabah, like at night, we use the plural, but with the possessive ending. Geceleri. Like at nights of what? We don't know. It's implied, but there's a e at the end. Geceleri. Sabahları. So this means every night, every morning. Akşamları. Every evening. Gündüzleri. Every day. Like every day, like, during the time, the daylight. Gündüzleri. And Jasmine, yes, I was also thinking about it because there are some hidden or implied parts in Turkish. That's one of them. Geceleri. So, nights of my life or nights, I don't know, of this month, nights of this week, nights of the time. Just, it belongs to something, but it's irrelevant. We just use the suffix. Geceleri, sabahları, akşamları. Genellikle geceleri duş alırım. Yes. Just don't forget to use plural and suffix, the possessive suffix. But it is not necessary though. That just reminded me. Genellikle gece duş alırım. So they are optional. How about that? Yes. Genellikle sabahları duş alırım is the same as saying genellikle sabah duş alırım. Genellikle geceleri duş alırım. Genellikle gece duş alırım. Or sabahları koşmaya giderim. I go for a running, for a run, for a running. I go to running every morning. Sabah koşmaya gidiyorum. It is optional. So it still means you are doing it every time, but you can just drop the plural. It is up to you. Whichever sounds better to your ears. Okay, so now let's talk about the last one. Finally, wait, that shouldn't be the last. There will be one more. But now let's talk about mostly and usually. Çoğunlukla. Thank you for the kind words, and this is the end of the lesson. Bugünlük bu kadar. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Ox. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Ruby. Thank you, Registania, and everyone else. Thank you, all of you. And see you next time. Kendinize iyi bakın. Sonra görüşürüz.